What's up, everyone? Soul Surfer 17 here. Love like usual. I did not own this pictures. I made the thumbnail, non-paid video. So, someone asked me for this. I'm gonna try and make a whole bunch of videos today, especially my soul level in Deku. I was gonna try to do it yesterday, but I just fell asleep, slept until like 6 something, and then, yeah. That's fun for me. Anyways, so I figured, why not make this? So that's what I'm doing. I'm making this part because I'm like, meh, why not? Like, by the man part of me, like, meh, why not? I mean, I could. It needs another part. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing. So hopefully you guys will like this part. Let's get into this. This is Naruto Had the Darkness Part 2. Also, recap real quick. Naruto nearly dies. I never explained about his arm basically being reattached. Because that's what I remember from watching the video last night, even though I fell asleep multiple times. For some weird reason. When I was trying to watch this. I don't know how. But yeah, whatever. So, never explained that. Hopefully I'm going to now. Yeah, the darkness made the Kyuubi or Kurama a Biju, basically Darkling, and Naruto absorbed a lot of basically power from the town that suffered. So, yeah. Oh, and the Angelus and Kushina merged together, and now basically the Angelus, aka Kushina, is back in Naruto's life. Well, Angelus is his grandmother, due to possessing his grandmother's body. So yeah, like I said, they're in his life, and now she's gonna raise Naruto. The darkness is just the form of Minato, who basically he has the feelings of Minato there, so awkward situations going to come around. But yeah, anyways, let's get this thing started. So, 3 hours has passed for Naruto and Kakashi, while basically Sakura from the last part got over Sasuke, basically has been worried about Naruto and Tazuna and Tsunami, his daughter, and basically his son Inari. Basically, just wondering who this woman really is. His daughter is basically, Tsunami? Yeah, basically it's just, chatting with this unknown person that says he is, well, not he is, she is basically Naruto's grandmother and mother. And Sasuke is looking at basically her with suspicion. Before Sasuke was going to finally say something, he hears a groan from basically Naruto and Kakashi as Naruto's getting up, and he's like, I thought I just had a dream where my mother and grandmother was the Angelus, and they said they're going to raise me? As Kakashi nods, he's like, yes, I thought Kushina was back. As then they hear the voice of the person that they thought was not real, as basically she says, I am raising you, Naruto, and yes, you heard me, Kakashi. Well, basically probably will say Kun at the end, but yeah. As basically that makes Kakashi stiffen a bit, as Naruto just like stop all movement and look over and seeing the Angelus, which is basically now his mother and grandmother, smiling at him. As he says, it wasn't a dream. She nods, nope. Now, I already know everything that has happened to you to a certain degree due to the Angelus keeping an eye on you. In which I am very disappointed in the village. As she then glares at Kakashi as he gulps a bit. As he basically says, I shows, I'm not blaming you since I know how that village can be sometimes. But still, that council, I knew there were going to be a problem, and I begged Minato not to steal the Kyuubi in you. which Naruto just nods slowly. And basically, he hears a sigh come from his head. He goes, Dad? Which the darkness basically goes, Minato's voice goes like, oh, don't worry about me. Just I am. Well, your father's basically feelings of anger and hatred for himself is, well, new to me. Self-loathing. He goes, oh. Which basically Kushina slash the Angelus knew. Basically, Naruto was talking to the darkness. As then she sees basically Kurama out, just basically on the couch, been wondering why he's even out. So Kushina's disdain for the QB, basically treating it like a burden and not like an actual person or living creature, is actually just kind of shocked. And to say that hasn't even tried to destroy anybody. As then Naruto looks over and goes like, "Hey, Kurama, were you worried about me?" As basically Kurama just looks over at him and just sighs like, "To be fair, no. You just passed out due to shock, so I wasn't worried about you, but since I am technically one of your darklings and slash companion, I am basically He basically tries to figure out the words as basically Naruto goes, oh, you basically are trying to figure out how you should feel about everything. He does nod. He was like, I've been locked in so many people for so many years, I don't know how I should feel about this turn into this and get my freedom, and yet you haven't treated me like a monster. Which Naruto just shrugs, be like, I already told you. I'm gonna treat you like, well, you're a living thing instead of just a mindless beast. Treat you like, you actually matter. Which Kurama just sighs. He goes, thanks for that, though. But then he looks over at Kushina, Angelus. He goes, at least someone treat me like somebody instead of having me pierced with chains and on a sun. In which I kind of make her flinch a bit, which she never knew the Kyuubi could, talk. Which Naruto just sighs, be like, yeah, I basically kind of figured something happened between you and my mom. I guess, since, I don't know how I know it. He tilted his head to the side, but I know you were basically the Jinchuriki of two Uzumakis, which that caught Sasuke and Sakura, shocked and surprised. Which Kurama Unai goes like, yes, me to Uzumaki and Kushina Uzumaki. You're a relative from your clan. Which Naruto kind of stiffens at that. He goes like, I had a clan. In which Kakashi would sigh, Sakura would be shocked along with basically Sasuke. Sasuke would, kind of have a cocky smirk on his face. And he goes like, what happened to the loser's clan? As Kurama glares at him, he goes like, Uchiha brat, how about you shut it? No one wants to hear from your arrogant mouth. As that then basically Sasuke glares at basically Kurama. Before anything happened, basically Kushina does step in and goes like, because Makoto and Kushina were friends, I believe basically they had not basically she was basically his godmother, but asked if anything happens to him, not happens to him, it happens to her, she will watch over Sasuke or something. I don't know. As she basically goes, Sasuke Uchiha, knock it off, and don't fight with basically the demon fox. Which she basically looks at him and goes like, which his name is Kurama? As he scoffs at that, he goes like, never say my name. The only one who's allowed to say my name that has earned my respect in the matter of minutes is him. As she points a tail at Naruto. As Naruto's getting up and stretching, as he basically does realize, it was like, wait a minute, my arm! How's it attached to me? Which basically Kurama, Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi all realize he didn't even know. Which basically kind of makes Kushina laugh at that. And so basically, Kurama just says, well, actually, no, a Darkling would come out of nowhere and be like, Boss, you finally knew! Huh? Which, he's like, Steve, right? He goes, yep, Steve's the name. Look, here's the thing. When you were basically coming back to life from your brief moment of death and the darkness, basically awakened, you, how should I say, dark tendrils came to basically that part of your arm that was cut off and reattached it to you. So that's how you still have your arm. Perfectly fine, right? He goes, how fast is my healing factor? Which basically all of a sudden, basically a actual Darkling that's actually wearing big giant glasses comes out basically underneath basically the chair couch that Kurama sitting on, and basically has notes in it, like a notebook and a pencil. He goes, well, well, actually, wait, let me try this. Well, since basically you, how should I say, were Uzumaki, Uzumaki has somewhat of a healing factor plus the Kyubi inside of you, and now basically the actual darkness awoken. Your healing factor can be very, very fast, to the point where if you basically survive a near fatal injury, such as stab for the heart, and still survive, you'll be back up and running basically in about maybe approximately 2 to 3 days. Who knows? In which Naruto and everyone else are shot. So he's like, what about my cut off my head? He goes, huh. He writes down a few basically things, and he was like, most likely that won't really kill you. Since, well, if you have your armor on, and if it's wear around, you won't really die. But if it does happen, well, who knows? Maybe die, maybe not. Most of the basically members of that held the darkness are somewhat immortal, don't age. So another way to really kill you is other means besides kunais and shurikens, which Naruto's like, which then all of a sudden Kushina coughs again, like, let's not talk that around when there's some people that may try to use that information against him. Which the Dark Lane just kind of looks at the Angela / Kushina, doesn't glare, but just blink. It's like, yes, but the darkness told us about you being here. We don't know how we should feel about you. So, we'll treat you as neutral. Come on, Sam. Sam. Then the other one, the one that's named Steve, is like, it's Steve! He was like, whatever. Just like they disappear back to the shadows. Which Naruto's like, I'm never gonna get used to that. Which basically everyone says agreed. And just in Naruto, just like, is this a ninja thing? Which Naruto and Kushina say exactly the same time, no, it's not. Which Kakashi can agree. So, after Naruto gets up, no, wait, he was already up. As Naruto basically walks over to a chair, basically, Kushina would basically go to him and goes like, well, say, Sochi, son, whatever, in Japanese. Which, he's just looking up at her, he's like, so, what do you want to know? She basically asks everything from your own point of view, in which his eyes go dark and look hollow, which that kind of shocks basically Sasuke, Sakura, everyone else who saw basically the brightness in his eyes dimmed to this much. He just chuckles at that. He goes like, then I don't want to say in front of the kid. So, let's go outside. And so she gets up and walks, towards the door to lead out of the house as Kushina follows. As Sakura's like, Sensei, it's Naruto's life. She doesn't want to finish the sentence, in which Kakashi just sighs and be like, yeah, Sakura, it probably is worse than Sasuke's. Which Sasuke kind of glares at that, because thinking the dope actually had something against him, even though it may be a horrible life, in my sense, kind of what makes Sasuke with his arrogant attitude and superiority, he would not ever like to lose to his Naruto, as basically that kind of just hits him with like, why am I being mad at him for having a worse life than me? Moment. He's like, what's wrong with me? He asked himself. Funny moment. I shouldn't have done it, but hey. So, yeah. Um. Also, basically, while Naruto and Kushina are walking, basically, into the forest, they would most likely stop after being far away. He just turns around, just like, what I'm about to say, I don't want you to try to destroy the village. Alright? In which he goes, I promise you. Okay? So tell me. As he just says it's not the best life. As then he goes in to say his whole entire life. And such, he basically even says that his crush on Sakura is, well, maybe not really a crush anymore. Well, a crush at all. He just doesn't really know for sure what love is. So he kind of gets confused on it. I think it's love. In which, though, after Krishna has heard everything, she nods and she's cursing away the village and at Hiruzen for his lack of basically spine in this what if. It's due to Hiruzen did lose his spine, and also his neglect is because he is just an old man that doesn't want to be there no more. So he kind of just lets it happen and tries to be there for Naruto to pick up the pieces of his inability to do the right thing in this what if. I mean, I still make him try to be there for Naruto, try to care for him. He does basically, he is able a way to put in the more violent people towards him away, saying they are a risk to the village, in which the civilian council cannot say anything because all the ninjas and the advisors agreed. So the more violent people got executed. So that did limit the number of people that would attack Naruto, which the basically the elder council did basically agree that it needed to be done. And so, with that, after Naruto sighs, I'm like, and that's my life. As basically he sees his grandmother slash mother crying as she just hugs him, apologizing for leaving him, basically for them, basically Minato, convince her for this to happen and such, and everything else. And he just hugs her back and, saying it's okay, whispering softly in her ear, basically comforting words. So, after that, he goes like, so, what are we going to do? After she, she's calmed down, she goes, well, first off, she sniffles away basically any tears or whatever, that was going to come out. She goes, we're going to train you. He goes, train me? She goes, uh-huh. We're going to train you the Uzumaki way. Kakashi has probably only trained the Uchiha from basically the knowledge I know of. Which he basically, in this one, he knew Naruto like, actually, Kakashi explained the reason why he wants me to basically learn the basics. Because I kept on pestering him and he only told me and asked why. He basically explained it basically in a thorough, detailed explanation. And he actually analyzed some of my skills. It was yesterday afternoon. He actually made me stay back so he could evaluate, and he told me everything that I actually sucked at, which it did bring me down, but he did say it was not my fault, and he actually thought I actually knew more than this, so that way he can get Sasuke off the team. It explained to me that the council was actually making him train the Uchiha, due to there's some black man material they have on him, the civilians, which that actually causes her to actually be shocked. In which basically she asks, what is it? Which he just shrugs like, I don't know. All he said is there's someone in the village that he cares about that they were going to kill. in which her eyes widen, and then there's basically a brief moment of basically a purple haired woman, which a pineapple basically style, the same way Shikamaru's hair is, basically hairstyle she has, and the way she dressed basically came to her mind, as she goes, "Oh." Basically, so Naruto says, so he would only give me scrolls, and I have any advice, save it till after our training and the missions. It's at a location where no one will basically, watch him. Since he has an apartment and a house he goes to, they don't know about the house that he owns from his father, though. So, he actually is starting to help me. It was kind of bullshit, I thought, because of the stupid council, but he explained the faster we get the Uchiha out of our hands, the quicker, basically, we can actually get my training started. Which Kushina nods slowly, because she can really sense the arrogance from him. As she just sighs and be like, well, at least you had a good reason why not to train you. But do you know Jiraiya? Tsunade? Which, basically, he just blinked. He goes, yeah, right up on Tsunade Senju. World's greatest medic, strongest Konoichi, and basically the first Hokage's granddaughter, along with basically Mito Uzumaki. But there's also only basically what Kakashi told me, that she lost so much she left the village. And I want to say that's, she needs to grow up, but he explained it to me basically, she lost her lover, which was, the man she was in love with, and her little brother in a mission during the war. I also want to call her out on it. He even said that she actually doesn't care for the village very much, and she may even hate the title of Hokage, which I was pissed, until he basically think it from her point of view, and then I sighed. Which she basically would nod to that. He goes like, I'm not going to basically say you're wrong for being mad at her, but she has lost a lot, so you can give her a break. But still, if she basically disrespects your dream, which I'm still wondering why you want to become Hokage, your true reasoning. Which Naruto just smirks. He actually just says, oh, I want to become Hokage, and basically get the respect of everyone, and basically to defend the village. But it's also, and the truer reason, is to prove to everyone that disrespected me, the one that called me a demon, the ones that basically said I would be worth nothing, that I actually succeeded. I was worth something. And I became someone where they can't basically say anything bad about. In which Naruto smiles at that, which Kushina just blinks and actually chuckles. So it's basically payback in the best way possible. Becoming something that they don't like. He goes, yep, pretty much. In which she can't help but laugh. And so, basically, she actually would nod at basically the approval of this. She goes, alright, just don't let it basically be your main focus. How to become stronger, basically, and such, and not basically try to learn as much as you can to become Hokage, which Naruto nods. And so, Kushina, basically, Naruto will go back to the house, and, well, Kushina would basically look at Kakashi, as Kakashi just goes in, sweats a bit, and she basically just then smiles and nods at him, in which he just sighs in relief. So, she asks, so, does anyone know how to basically do anything? Which Kakashi actually says, besides the Uchiha, and basically, when I try to basically at least teach him how to basically be a part of a squad, actually have basically bonds, and also a few taijutsu moves and a few jutsus that could complement him. Nothing much. In which that caused Naruto and Kushina to blink along with Sakura. In which that made Sasuke scowl. She goes, you haven't teach him any ninjutsus? Which he nods, nope. He actually just says, he's too arrogant, and basically he'll probably use them on a comrade. So I'm glad I never taught him anything besides those. In which Naruto's just like, wow, I thought you taught the Tem how to do multiple jutsus and everything. Which Kakashi actually starts laughing. In which actually causes everyone to be shocked, including Sasuke. He was like, why would I teach an arrogant brat basically how to do something when he's not ready for it? And only claims I'm the Uchiha and elite. In which basically that makes Sasuke growl at him, and Kakashi ignores it. Just give me a minute real quick. Alright. Like I said, Kakashi basically ignored Sasuke. And Sasuke in his mind thinking, how dare he not basically teach me anything? I'm a Uchiha, an elite, and I need to basically kill my brother Itachi. And, well, so Kushina goes, so because of this, you've been trying to get the Uchiha to get up to your standards, which Kakashi would not. He goes like, truthfully, he has the skills, but not basically what I wanted in this team. While Sakura was going to work with next, after getting him out of his little, how should I say, inferiority complex and superiority complex. I was going to work on her confidence and basically try to get her out of her fangirl tendencies. But it looks like she already got rid of that. And, honest the truth, Naruto's the only one out of these two that actually had the potential and already had basically this, well, what I was looking for in a team. By that I mean the cooperation to work with others willingly and actually care for both of his teammates. In which Sakura just looks down because she knew basically in the past that she only cared about the Uchiha. And Sasuke just looks angry because he doesn't believe he should, rely on anyone else but himself. In which Kushina would nod. It was like, so you held them all back from learning basically anything else, which Kakashi would nod. He goes, the only thing I was basically, gonna help Naruto in learning ahead of them was basically his chakra control, and basically point him to in the right direction to a few things. In which he will just nod. And so, basically goes like, well, since basically you're still not able to teach, I'll teach them. Which basically Kashi goes like, good luck with that, with him, as he points to Uchiha. And basically she just claps her hands, telling everyone to get their stuff and get out there. And she'll basically, be out there in a few minutes. Naruto runs up and grab his, ninja tools and everything else. Basically goes out. Sakura already had them on, along with Sasuke, so they already outside. Naruto basically is out there waiting. And basically, Kushina looks at basically Kakashi and just says this real quick. If I see that orange book out, I'm destroying it. Which Kakashi just sweats a bit and just nods. In which she would nod in approval and just leave. In which Kakashi's thinking, she's still the same. So yeah. So, in this sense, they will go to the same area for the tree walking exercise, but I would believe Kushina would basically have them, Sasuke and Sakura, to do the tree walking exercise, while she basically gives Naruto a different exercise because it has massive amount of chakra. And with little control, the tree walking may be good, but it's not basically what Naruto should focus on. She thinks she knows the bigger basically the chakra control exercise is, the better basically his control will become, and the more easier for the lower stuff to actually help. So she basically would have Naruto learn something basically like balancing, maybe like kunais, shurikens, or rocks on basically each part of his body, and try to do the tree walking exercise basically differently from them, telling them basically to take their time and try to do this. Run and start a few times will be good for them to get actual good, see where their control should be, and then basically try to walk, well, upwards slowly with it, which Naruto would try to do, and the exact same thing will happen, him having troubles, until basically Kushina starts putting multiple things for him to try to have control over, in which she basically would say, in multiple different areas, have him basically try to control it. Like I said, in which basically preoccupies him. We get his chakra being in multiple different places. So his basic control walking up the tree will be vastly different. So basically, he even asked help from Sakura again, in which she gladly helped him. And so, I would say basically a Darkling came out and be like, "Where's boss? Wait." He looks up, seeing Naruto walking up a tree. He goes like, "Oh, training. Got it." He looks then where he is. He just kind of flinches a bit. He goes like, "Hello there." Which Kushino just nods to the Darkling. And he goes like, "So, what were you doing?" He waits to the Darkling's like, "We, a few of us kind of went through the whole entire islands. And, well, we may have found a base or two. Maybe. We don't know for sure." And when she kind of raises up Kushina's eyebrow, she makes a shadow clone and basically tells the clone to get a map, as basically the clone will basically do a shunshin real quick, come back with the map, as she basically asks the basically Darkling to show on the map where it may have been. Which the Darkling's like, basically kind of looks at it from basically the overhead view. The top view on the map basically is showing it. So he kind of points to each island, saying, "No, no, yes, yes." In which Kushina basically goes like, "So there's a base nearby on each island." He goes, "Well, this island connects basically to this one, the one that we're on. And basically, the one that's connected has bigger trees and such around it, so." Which Kushina would nod in understanding. And so, after that, the Darkling does leave, and basically Kushina would just hold on to the map. So after watching each person do the tree walking exercise, she does know Sasuke is trying to rush it and such, and just sigh, while Sakura basically did ask her if she should keep going, basically due to her reserves, not make her only make her go up the exact same way of the tree. Well, not exact same way. I mean, the basically lands on the same branch that was in canon, which she'll just tell her basically to basically keep going and try to get her reserves better, because she has low chakra reserves. That's why she's able to have perfect chakra control for basically most things to do with chakra. Do it basically a couple of times, take a break, and to replenish her chakra, then do it again. And with Naruto, basically, he is having troubles, like, not moving that much, but he is getting the hang of it. In which, basically, she goes, like, she does say Sochi, which he basically blinks at her. She basically would tell him basically the secret of the Shao clones, and he's like, "You have to be kidding me. I didn't realize that? Idiot. Idiot, idiot, idiot." In which he can hear the darkness chuckling in his head along with Kushina. And so he asks how many clones. She basically thinks about it, goes like, 5. Make 5 clones. In which he makes around 7. He just sighs, be like, "I overdid on the chakra." Which she would just nod, be like, "It's understandable. Well, keep those 2 clones around and basically start doing the tree walking exercise." In which Naruto would nod, and the clones doing exactly what he was doing with the exercise of basically tree walking along with him. And yeah, this helps in his training, which makes Sasuke scowl at that, and basically like wondering, what's the point with the clones doing what he's doing? It's not like it's gonna help him. And Sakura's thinking, will that help Naruto out? Tilting her head to the side. So, I would say that kind of goes on basically for a good couple of hours until she calls it off and tells them basically, let's go back and basically get something, well, to eat. Because you guys been training for like this for hours, for a couple of hours now. In which they all can sigh and basically nod. Sasuke's a little bit mad he didn't get that far, but farther than basically what Naruto did. So he's, kind of glad about that since he's not the last one, which Sakura has been, getting her reserves better, but not by much though. And so, what will happen now is when Kakashi gets back, Kushina would basically show him the map and where the Dark Lanes basically, showed her. Anyway, she goes, so, what are you thinking? What she just decides, you're like, well, I'm gonna send shadow clones there to confirm it and see on the other islands. A good maybe 5 groups each. Which basically Kakashi would not. It was like, should I send out basically Pakun to the Hokage? She goes, uh-huh. And just tell him, basically, someone's gonna wants to have a nice little chat with him when basically we get back. And where Kakashi just gulps and just nods. And basically tells, while it says in its head, good luck to you, third Hokage. Good luck to you. And so, basically, he basically sends out Pakun, his basically summon dog, and gives him the message. And she even, basically, Kushina even said to basically tell them what's happening, but don't send backup because we have basically, because some things have changed. So, yeah. So, basically, when nighttime comes around, the darkness tells Naruto to, go outside and basically so they could train with his darkness abilities. And which have basically his mother there since with the Angelus, she has seen a wide variety of basically abilities from previous hosts of his. And such he would nod. Now, for this, basically they're trying to get Naruto to at least do the armor subconsciously when he's in danger and such, so it'd be like second nature for him. Yeah, second nature for him. Along with teaching him a few things about what he can do. He basically used the darkness to basically shape things for him, like turning basically his armor, basically to grow wings on his back, along with blades at his size. Heck, even create things for him. Which Naruto's like, wait, if I can create something from from basically my armor and such and my powers, then can't use that? And he looks at his mom, which she goes, yes, that's what me and the darkness have in common. Give me a minute. Okay, so in which he basically goes like, huh, never suspected that, but alright. Which basically the darkness will admit, saying, it's hard to create life for me, but with the angels it's easy. Which is not speaking in the darkness voice, which he's like, oh. Uh-huh, so it's gonna be difficult for you to basically create life. Non-living objects should be easy enough, especially weapons. But I wouldn't recommend using the weapons that you create in your normal life, per se, because of people wonder why you have so many extreme and powerful weapons that can cut through chakra metal. Which Naruto's like, say what now? Yes, you can. The basic weapons you will create is way more powerful than your normal weapons. He goes, okay. So, Naruto basically has, training basically actually creating things on the fly from kunais to shurikens to, even basically trying to make it like small little daggers to help him out. He's been doing that for the past couple of days. Basically, they only trained for like a good 4 hours worth, and basically even have Naruto's, basically clones to train with basically the well, tree walking. Some actually trying to do water walking. But the exact same process that Naruto's been doing, but with a little bit more difficult things like Senbon, little tiny rocks in multiple different areas. And basically, in the darkness, actually, is kind of making him a little bit more heavier with weights that he was, that basically he created for him on his wrists, which he's like, wait, I have wrist weights, leg weights, and huh? What are you doing, Mom? Which she would be like putting a seal on you to help you out with your training. This is basically a resistance and gravity seal. It's basically to help make you faster and such. Obviously help you to build muscle, and we're gonna actually, unfortunately, she sighs in disappointment, like have make you stop eating ramen for a while. Which Naruto's like, wait, no ramen? Why? And where's the darkness when one of those heads pop out and just says, in the voice of the darkness, saying, because unfortunately for you, your growth basically is shortened because of, well, your ramen addiction, and also because basically you have not have proper food, so your body cannot handle without nutrition, due to the fact that Nine Tails has been the one to keep you basically in the way you were. Without him, basically being inside of you, you'll maybe become malnourished quicker now. Which Naruto's eyes widen in shock. And basically then Kurama will come over like, so this is where you all are. You're training him with the darkness powers. I see. Which basically Kushina would not be like, so what do you want? Which Kurama will just say, want to see what was going on, and two, to tell you, in the near future, he's going to have to learn how to control my chakra. It's going to be a pain, but unfortunately, he has to. In which Kushina is nods slowly to this, and the darkness will nod. So this will go on for the next couple of days. Until the Zabuza fight. Inari basically does his speech, which gets Naruto mad. Kind of reveals, saying that his whole village hates him for something so stupid, and they can't get over it. The fact is, he never even asked for this, and yet he lost everything, only recently find his mother, who was dead, came back somehow, in which Kushina would nod. Along with his father, but he says his father's a difficult situation to talk about. So yeah. At least basically he had a mother and father mother, father, grandfather his whole entire life. And the fact is that he had no one for the very beginning he was born and would leave. And basically this would make Inari cry, run away, and everyone will apologize for Inari's actions, and basically Kushina would basically apologize for Naruto, but Naruto's life has been very difficult for him, in which basically Tsunami would nod in understanding. So, what will happen is very simple. Naruto would train Mihaku, talk about the precious people, get that whole entire speech, and basically know he was a boy. But the fact is, basically, Kakashi did get the note saying about what they should do with Gato. They basically did scout the place. They basically, both places where the whole entire islands were, that they basically, from the Darklings, that's where the hideouts were. They found the basically hideouts. Gato was in one of them. The other one was Zabuza's place. And basically, they were not going to go after Zabuza, but basically Gato's. With a whole bunch of shadow clones from basically Kushina. And basically with the power of the Angelus, and plus the minions, the base was raided. None of them were dead, including Gato, but a lot of people were saved that were basically in prison, and many basically that were there were healed, and basically nothing that has happened to them has basically will ever be there again. Now, the only reason why Zabuza Haku does not know what has happened because the clones and a few basically angels creations were fallen as basically guards and basically Gado himself. So, the day of the fight, Naruto is sleeping. Basically, Kushina is there. And well, the fact is, the bridges happen exactly the same. The only difference is when Naruto wakes up, basically he will run downstairs. So Kushina's there just, eating with basically Inari's there and his mother's in the kitchen. He would look at his mom and be like, "Did they leave without me?" Which basically Kushina would nod, and before he leaves, all of a sudden he senses something. And basically Kurama basically also looks, at the door, basically and just growls, which he basically goes like negative emotions, evil or something, which Kurama goes like negativity, arrogance, evil. Which basically the darkness goes like, "Yep, perfect." Which he's like, "Huh?" And so what happened is before anything he can say anything, Naruto did sleep a little bit longer, so the guys are gonna be there. Naruto's armor instantly comes on, which that kind of shocks, Inari and Tsunami. In which basically Kushina takes out her blade, and Kurama basically, has chakra raining off of him. In which the two goons come in. Naruto immediately leaps into action, basically punching one away, grabbing the other one's armor, throwing them. In which Kushina and Kurama basically jump, out of the house with Naruto. In which that shocks, basically, Inari, which unknowingly there was a third member this time that snuck in and grabbed Tsunami, which basically, caught Inari off guard, and basically the guy runs out with Tsunami, saying he got her, which Naruto, Kushina, and Kurama looked over, in which basically we have Naruto cursing away at himself, including Kushina just narrowing her eyes along with Kurama, in which he basically says, if you don't want her to die, the guy that's holding Tsunami, Inari's mother, captive, if you don't want her to die, then basically surrender. In which basically Inari would, in canon, do exactly the same thing, doubt himself, and then basically remember what Naruto says and tell them to let go of his mom. As in, Naruto basically does the replacement jutsu and that distraction with Inari's mother, Tsunami. And so, with that, the guy's like, "What the?" As then all of a sudden, a tendril from Naruto's back pops into the guy's stomach all the way out, throw him over to the guy as Kushina basically kicks the guy's Kurama and jumps at one of them, biting basically its arm, as Naruto ran over, grabbed the sword, and then, well, basically make two shadow clones that would basically get Tsunami and Inari inside real quick. And he doesn't even know how he's able to do all this very quickly. And so he basically slashes one of the guys, killing them. Then basically Kushina basically cut one arm off, and Naruto decapitates the other. As Kurama basically actually sends out basically a fireball jutsu that hits the guy, basically killing him instantly. As Naruto just like, I just killed two people. He basically grabs his, put his hand on his mouth. The mask basically suddenly comes off and runs over and basically starts puking out his guts. Basically due to this. As then Kushina comes over, basically patting his back, telling him he's gonna be okay. Basically don't worry about it. They weren't basically good people. They were scum. That sort of thing. As Naruto gets up on shaky legs and just nods, as then all of a sudden the two heads that pop out of his back, that basically blocked the shurikens from Zabuza, all of a sudden basically goes over to the bodies and rips out their hearts and eats it along with basically the third one. In which Naruto just blanks. He was like, I didn't. What? Why do I feel stronger? In which the darkness in Minato's voice just says in his head, that's the power of basically what I get. To be honest, I don't go after basically innocent people. To be fair, Jackie Estacado basically had my powers, and we always went after. Well, technically, it doesn't really matter who you kill or hearts you eat, but the more basically vicious and sinful they are, the better powerful you'll get, actually. So it's good to basically go after ones that basically deserve it. Which Naruto's just blinking, he's like, oh. Well, how? It's the more powerful you get. That's the only reason why I'm telling you this. It's like, okay, which Naruto's thinking, so, if I killed someone with a massive amount of sin, like, basically like murder, pillaging, all of that stuff, then I get more power? How does that work? Just question marks appear over Naruto's head, and Kurama just kind of like, just looks at him basically with a poker face, as in Kushina is the one laughing. But Kurama basically immediately shoots out basically a fireball, burn the bodies quickly. As Inari and Tsunami come out, as Naruto would tell Inari for doing such a good job and try to protect his mother. In which he will say thank you, and they say they have to leave now. But Kushina does leave 2 Shadow clones along with Naruto. So, they rush over to the bridge. Now, what happens at the bridge isn't canon. The only difference is, Sakura does have better training, and Kakashi has basically taught her a few jutsus, which basically surprising him that she's actually able to get them down, as long as he gave her a scroll that has an in-depth explanation of the jutsu. She was able to get it down pretty easily. In which he goes, interesting. So this will help her in her training then, huh? Alright. So yeah, so the fight with Haku is happening with Sasuke, Zabuza with Kakashi, Sakura protecting Tazuna. All that's going the same. So when Naruto arrives, along with basically his mother, Zabuza stops, blinks, looks over in the direction, and sees its blonde hair with red in it, one basically mismatched eye with violet and blue, ninja outfit, wearing, basically golden on her. He's just like, wait a minute. He looks closely in the heart-shaped face, basically that looks like Kushina Uzumaki, as basically Kushina sees Zabuza and grins a bit. In which he's like, no. He just jumps away from Kakashi, and all of a sudden he calls out Haku. In which basically Haku appears to, basically Zabuza, which he goes, that we may need to leave. Which basically Haku tilts his head to the side and asks why. As then Kushina goes like, huh, Mochi Zabuza. I didn't suspected you to basically be a rogue ninja. In which Haku looks over and sees the woman, and he goes like, who are you? She goes, well, my name is basically different ones, but you can call me by my basically name that I like the most, Kushina Uzumaki, the red hot habanero of Konoha. In which Haku's eyes widen as Naruto comes to the side, still holding the blade in his armor, looking like an actual freaking ninja. In which basically Kurama would just kind of snicker at the looks and kind of just tell Naruto he's gonna go back onto the armor, which he's like, huh? And then when he does so, Naruto, kind of feels like it's actually melting back in, as he actually kind of feels, his movements is basically stiffened and not basically the best, but he senses basically this does have a little bit more strength to him. In which I was like, what the? And so, basically, Naruto was like, thanks for giving me this much mist. It gives me a lot of room, basically, for my little friends to come out. In which I was like, well, what do you mean by little friends, and who the heck are you? As Naruto goes like, oh, you don't remember me? Can't blame you. I changed a bit. Oh, wait, no, you did see me, which he basically kind of just realized. He was like, wait, you're that kid? And what do you mean by little friends? All of a sudden, the Darklings come out. Multiple different weapons. Which Haku's like, Zabuza? Which he just gulps. He goes, yes, Haku. I think we should run, Haku says. So I was like, yeah. I may be a demon of the mist. And I'm crazy. I'm not crazy to face an army. To be fair, when I'm making them basically be afraid and running, it's kind of like, would you rather face an army of weird black little creatures that suddenly appear out of nowhere with multiple different weapons that you don't know of and what you know of? Also against basically someone that should have been dead, that may or may not be from canon able to take on the seven swordsmen of the mist? And maybe win or not win? Depending if it's basically canon or not, I would say she will win. With her chakra chains and the QB at the time, and her Kenjutsu. So yeah, so Zabuza has a right to be afraid of this. And so basically, Haku was saying agreed, but all of a sudden, basically, Kushina will appear right behind them. They turn around, they see Kushina. She's holding up a sword she made. She's like, now, basically, Zabuza. I want basically you to basically, well, actually, since you're not running, then, since you basically want to run due to my son's actions and me being here, how about I give you an offer? Which I was like, an offer? Which she's like, Usually I just would wipe you out and erase you from existence, but to help out basically my Sochi, which versus Zabuza, well, that makes Zabuza's eyes go wide. He needs all the help he can get. And I'm basically going to teach him Kenjutsu, but I want him not to have one simple style. I want him to have, multiple different styles to rely on to help him out. So, I would like for you to also help him basically in his training. In which Zabuza gulps and he's like, and who is your son? As Naruto basically steps forward, which Haku basically nudges Zabuza. He looks and sees the brat coming over to him. He basically blinks, he goes like, no way. Which Naruto just nods. He basically just sighs, like, what do I have to do? She goes, well, yeah, basically I only have to see where he's at, which is basically a novice or not even beginner. But you can basically see how much potential he has, and you can make a decision of yes and no. In which, basically, he would think about it, and look at the kid, look at Kushina, and just sigh and just nod. And so, Naruto and Zabuza had a quick Kenjutsu match. I can't go into details because it's just a spar in which Naruto tries to slash to Zabuza's right, downwards to the left, across his chest. He blocks it. Naruto kicks. He does get hit and such, but it's just like Zabuza. It's only felt like a good 5 minutes as Zabuza tells him to stop, which he basically thinks about it. He looks over at Kush and he goes like, I can see the potential he has. His unpredictability, for right now, maybe a natural style of his own. But having basically a good two Kenjutsus, basically styles on his hands, would be good for him to have. Heck, even developing his own Kenjutsu style may actually be good too. But what else would you want me to teach him? He goes like, well, he may have a high basically affinity with water, so maybe a couple of water jutsus, including the hidden mist. since that'll be very handy for him. He just sighs and just nods, in which he looks at Haku and is like, well, looks like we're basically going to the Hidden Leaf Village, which Haku cannot believe it, and just nods very slowly, and then she goes, good, that may you basically release the mist, which he just sighs and does so. So, in canon, we do have Inari and the people coming to basically the bridge and such, which they would come, and basically they would just be waiting for everyone, because all of a sudden, in a flash, when everyone arrives that were from the town, Gato and his men are basically all basically tied up and gagged, basically, in which that catches Zabuza and Haku off guard. But that was which Kushina goes, nope, not the flying Raijin. It's a different technique. Don't worry about it. And so Naruto would basically go up to the people of the village. Well, not go up to basically the people of the village from the wave. He would go up to basically Kakashi and ask, what was this? Which Kakashi just says, secondary mission we were basically given by the Hokage was to capture Gato or eliminate him, depending on basically how we saw fit. In which basically he was told by Kushina she thought basically the villagers were better off to basically do it themselves on the decision for Gato. And so basically Naruto actually kind of looking at Gatos and basically a few of the men, and he just scowls because he can sense a lot of basically taint from them, basically evil, in which he basically, Kakashi sees him gripping his fist along with Kushina. Kushina would basically put her hand on Naruto, which in turn he doesn't stop his rage towards them, but it basically makes him look at her, which Chrome would get it off, turn back into the fox, and basically, tell her basically, telling him basically just to wait, in which he'll nod. And so, the village would decide to have basically Gato dead, in which they ask how we should, how should he die, in which Naruto actually suggests he uses basically his abilities he has, in which they look at him. He basically saying he will take Gato and basically 5 others, which the rest could die, which they would, what Tazano asked basically the ninjas to kill, in which Kakashi would just sign, just nod, and basically have Sakura basically get her first kill along with basically Sasuke, and with Naruto he thought it would be his first, in which Kusha would not know, basically saying it, would not be, it's not his first, which he would walk over and ask what happened, and saying basically 3 people, attacked the home of basically Tazuna, which they would try to get Tsunami and Inari, in which basically, he would nod and saying, how do you take it, which he says, he puked, which Kakashi would not understanding. So, Naruto would look at Gato and the 5 men he asked for, and basically they're gagged and such, which he basically asked all the villagers to look away, and Sakura and Sasuke, if he wanted to, including Kakashi and his mom, in which basically Sakura kind of curious and would kind of not look, well, kind of look, as the rest of the village don't. But some would basically be curious as they see basically 2 heads pop out of Naruto's back, as just then they just ripped out basically Gato's heart on the 2, and another man, well, another goon of his, and then the other 2, and then the last one, eating them, which that kind of surprised them and made them sick. Some of them puke. The ones that looked, Sakura just couldn't believe it. She felt like she was about to throw up, but luckily she already did due to the fact she killed somebody. And Sasuke was thinking it wouldn't be bad until he saw what happened. Yeah, he just puked. He made Kakashi was like, what the? Which basically, Kushina would have a hollow chuckle at that, but like, that's the power of the darkness. the more evil someone is, the stronger he'll get. It's kind of ironic. So, which Kakashi's just blinking, he's like, oh. She goes, yep. He has to do this from time. Oh, he'll have to do this. Which he just nods slowly. So after that, the bridge building goes way more quicker. Cannon. They also basically raided Kato's place, take everything that was needed, even more. Basically, Zabuza asked for basically he can take some and send it to basically the rebels for the Mist Village, which they of course agreed, which he did send some. And also he gave Naruto a new sword to work with. So when his trainer starts, they can, work with it. And so, after everything and them saying goodbye, and Naruto crying, and Naruto telling him basically it's okay to cry and such, they would leave the village and make small chat. Zabuza asked him what the heck is that power, or basically dojutsu, or whatever you have, which Naruto was just saying, it's nothing special, just an ancient evil basically passed down through blood, basically for the generations of every basically host, and no one can have it only one person at a time, because every time the older host basically pass it on to their children, they die. In which basically that makes Zabuza basically blink. He goes, well, that sucks for you. Which he goes, yeah, it does. In which Sakura just kind of frowns at that, because she wouldn't want Naruto to die. So yeah. So basically, I think Kushina would technically ask Sakura when we get back home what are you going to do. In which she would kind of just kind of sigh and just says, if her parents or mother basically doesn't like the fact that she doesn't want to go after the Uchiha and wants to be friends with basically Naruto, then she may basically just decide to move out of her parents' place and try to find a new place to live. In which then Naruto will look at his mother as his mother will nod. And saying, if that ever happens, then you can come live with us if needed. In which basically Sakura just blinked like, are you sure? I don't want to basically inconvenience you. And Naruto, where do you even live? He goes, a shabby apartment. Where she basically blinks and goes like, then, saying, about to, make the whole entire claim saying she can't. Which then Kushner says, oh, we're going to be moving everything out of his apartment into his home. Or should I say, our home. In which basically her eyes blink and be like, wait, you have a home? Which she basically would not, basically saying it was going to be the home of Naruto, which he was supposed to get basically when he was younger, for him to basically learn everything he could, since the old monkey didn't basically give him his inheritance. Then, well, we'll have enough room for everything. For his stuff, my newer stuff, and you. Which basically Sakura is just blinking and just smiles at Kushina and saying thank you. So, yeah. A little bit of things happen along the way. Training, abandoned camp they found accidentally. Naruto seeing how basically the Darklings would work, kind of asked Kakashi if he could just send them out. Which he allowed, and yeah. They killed, pillaged, the bandits. Some were eaten, which made Naruto sick a bit, along with Kushina. Kakashi's going this is gonna be a headache. Yeah. And Sakura just fainted, and along with Sasuke had to look away. Zabuza was like, huh. And people call me a demon. Haku just doesn't like it. Looks away with disgust. So yeah. After that, nothing really else happens besides they get to the village. So, after basically they sign in saying that Zabuza is coming with along with Haku, and the other person is someone basically from this village that hasn't been away for a very long time, they'd be like, okay, give me a minute. Okay, so like I was saying, the two guards were like, okay, and they let them in. So when they've reached the Hokage office, basically, Hiruzen's like, Kakashi. As then he sees Zabuza, Haku, and Kushina. He goes out, who are basically these three. He's basically thinking the blonde redhead remind him a lot of Kushina. As basically he's kind of thinking it can't be. Maybe a relative of hers. But saying no, it can't. As then Zabuza is saying who he is, along with Haku, and he would like to say, I'd like to become a ninja of this village due to a agreement I had with people pointing over to the woman, basically as it's again Kushina, as he says, "What's this agreement?" And basically before Zabuza can say anything, she steps up and saying, "Oh, simply to help train my son." In which he goes, "Ah, and who is your son?" He goes like, "Naruto Uzumaki," or his full name, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. In which Hiruzen goes pale and let's just say, he's like, Kushina, but I saw you died. And when she goes, well, I came back. Now, we're gonna have a nice little chat. She just shoots everyone away. And Ambu come out with their swords as Hiruzen goes like, stand down, you can't defeat her. In which everyone just looks at him, and Kushina has a sweet smile and releases her killer intent. In which she goes, now, Hiruzen, tell me why you didn't look after my baby boy, as we asked. She doesn't even care if the whole entire the Ambu team is there. All they can hear from the room and the whole entire village can hear is screaming. And that's where we're going to leave it off, everyone. Hope you guys have a nice day, night, wherever you are, and bye.